Holy cow, that's hard. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
He's got much bigger lungs.
I dislocated a hip. Anyway, hi, Happy New Year. I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapin.
And welcome to the first episode of Our City Tonight in 2025.
Yes, and we're back here at the Parker Rooftop where we're at for our last episode. And later on, lucky me, I get to try some wonderful cocktails that they make here at Parker Rooftop.
Yeah, cocktails for the new year. I'm not sure why I'm wearing these big glasses. I know you love prop comedy. I'm not sure what that has to do with the new year, but anyway.
Showing you're going to be a good sport all through 2025.
Let's not get carried away here. It's like Elton John, 1973 here. Anyway, hey, thank you for joining us. We get into a new year. We're going to get right to Our City Tonight.
This segment is sponsored by the Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.
He spent nearly 4 decades covering sports in this country, including 20 years here in Vancouver with the Vancouver Province. His new book is called Never Boring, The Up and Down History of the Vancouver Canucks. It is a great pleasure to finally welcome to Our City Tonight Ed Willis. He is the author and I think one of the best in the business. Ed, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
You're quite welcome. Let's get right into this. I was saying to a friend the other night, if you are a Canuck fan, this is a book you want to read. I enjoyed it, brought back a lot of pain. But one of the things I've always enjoyed about your writing is that you find a way to add a little sarcasm, a little humor, because you've got to laugh at a lot of this stuff when it comes to this team that we love.
Yeah, I think that's the cross all Canucks fans have to bear. You have to laugh because it'll make you crazy otherwise. And when you really get into the litany of everything that's happened to this team over the past half century plus now,
yeah,
it really is a remarkable record.
And what's interesting is I always started ground zero in the what if category, which we're going to discuss many times in this interview. It was the 1970 draft and Gilbert Perreault versus Dale Talon. But what I found fascinating is you talk about, it goes back a little further in terms of this, not curse, but you talk about those early years. I think it's Conn Smythe. You take it from there.
It's Stafford Smythe, yeah.
Smythe,
that was the big reveal for me. I had no idea this story existed, but God bless databases because you can go in and call up newspapers from the mid-'60s and read what was going on in real time. So the story is, and try and make this as brief as possible, Stafford Smythe tells the city of Vancouver, I tell you what, I'll build you a new rink. And this is in anticipation of them getting an NHL franchise in the 67 round of expansion.
Yeah.
The only caveat is you have to give me the land. Now, the land he wants is basically where the Vancouver Public Library sits, and he wanted it for free. So this becomes this huge divisive civic issue. It goes to a plebiscite, it gets defeated. Stafford Smythe famously says, Vancouver's a Bush League town and there won't be NHL hockey here for a generation. Now that generation turned out to be 3 years.
Yeah.
But it set loose these forces in the ownership group that was going to buy the franchise, and when they finally appeared before, they were in complete disarray. They were splintered. Clarence Campbell, who'd been a big champion of the Vancouver bid, was embarrassed by them. He dismissed them, and they come back in 3 years, and they still don't have their stuff together.
Yeah.
And that's why the Canucks' first owner is a dude from Minnesota named Tom Scallon, who actually ends up doing a 9-month stretch in Ocala. Of course he did, because it's the Canucks. And then it finally ends up in the hands of Frank Griffiths. But that's basically the Canucks' origin story.
Yeah.
From point A to point B to point C to their owner ending up in Ocala on a fraud charge.
And there's so many dry years and everything, but there are these little glimmers of hope.
That's right.
But there are also what ifs in there. Like I'm living in Toronto at the time, so I'm cheering for that other team, which we won't mention at the time. But you get this remarkable run in '82. But then
Out of the blue.
Yeah. They just get hot at the right time.
Right.
We've seen before. But then it's followed by, you don't spend a lot of time talking about the '80s because there's really not a lot to talk about until Trevor and Pat Quinn arrive, and we get restarted.
I've gotten to know Tony Tandy over the years, and I apologize profusely to him because that whole era, he scored 40 goals for 4 straight years.
Yeah.
One of the
impressive.
great lost Canucks, but nothing happened. They were just terrible. The most noteworthy thing that happened in those years was they traded Cam Neely to Boston for Barry Peterson in one of the worst trades. And this is a team that has lived off one side, the Canucks, I mean, lived off one-sided trade. So we kind of skipped over from 82 right until when Pat Quinn gets hired, and then things turn around.
But even, and there's very few people that are more loved than Pat Quinn was in this city, but even that, there's court cases involved in getting him to come here. I mean, again,
it can never be clean and easy with the Canucks. No, Pat was actually, he was, I can't remember, there was a legal term for what they did to him, but he's the only coach in NHL history to be essentially barred. And so he appeals and they kind of roll it back, but he's banned from coaching the team for 3 years, which actually turns out to be a good thing because he's devoted to his GM's duty. And he makes a couple of killer trades that positions the Canucks. And then they draft Trevor, and then a couple of other good things happen. And the pièce de résistance should have been the addition of Vladimir Krutov and Igor Larionov from the great Russian teams. That didn't work out again because it's the Canucks. But there's a whole sequence of events that sets up the best years of the Pat Quinn era.
We don't have enough time for us to get in and go through the pain of 2011 and everything that happened on and off the ice.
Probably just as well.
But what I'm happy to see is, I mean, we had a good playoff run. I think it maybe delayed your book a little bit last year coming out because we did. Are you encouraged by what you're seeing over the last 2 or 3 years?
I think they finally have. I think they have the management component and the coach component in place. I think the previous regime made too many mistakes in the personnel department, but we'll see. We still haven't seen the best iteration of this team. I want to see this team when JT Miller gets back, when Thatcher Demko gets his legs under him, when they get Philip Roenick back. Those are 3 pretty big pieces to be missing. I still think I think they're just a notch below the real elite teams in the NHL. But who knows what can happen in the playoffs? And there's one thing the Canucks have offered over the year. It's that glimmer of hope. There's just that one little streak of sunlight peeking through the clouds, and because you never know what's going to happen with this team.
It's a great thing about being a sports fan, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, the new book, just out a couple months ago, I shouldn't say, still available. Please check it out. Called Never Boring, the up and down history of the Vancouver Canucks as we follow them this winter, hopefully into the playoffs. Ed Willis, one of the best in the business. Thank you for joining us, Ed.
This segment was sponsored by the Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.
Sponsorship and other promotional considerations provided by Bosa Foods, authentic Italian, with 2 locations to serve you better. More information, go to bosafoods.com.
Well, now it is time in this wonderful brand new year to talk new cocktails. And I am here with Kieran, who's the head bartender. I'm so excited because I watched you make these. They are fascinating. I'm going to start with this super, super cute bird here. I know a girlfriend of mine, Deline, that would love this just because it's in a bird glass.
Yeah.
Tell us about this one.
So this is the Bird is the Word. It is a play on the Last Word cocktail, the classic cocktail. This is the Parker version of it.
Perfect. Now tell us a little bit what goes into this, because I'm going to taste it while you are sharing.
So what goes into this cocktail? We have Empress Indigo, Yellow Chartreuse, Polygram Bassino, which is a white vermouth, Saint Germain, yuzu, and lemon juice.
That is absolutely delicious. I mean, I thought it would be just seeing all the ingredients. Okay, this is fascinating. This is a 2-part cocktail.
Yeah, so this is the Broken Mistake. So this one we also have a little play on fire.
Okay. Yes, bring the fire.
Bring the fire.
Let's see. So I'll stay back because of the hairspray.
Woo.
Oh my gosh, it's a lime.
It's a lime.
Very cool. Tell us what goes into this.
So on the side we have a shot of Prosecco and Umeshu, which is a Japanese plum. And then in the main cocktail, we have a rhubarb gin, polygram bassino, Campari, and 5 dashes of rhubarb bitters.
Excellent. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick little taste and we're gonna move to this one.
We have the Exodus 3.2, which is based on the Bible, which has God's angel coming out of a burning bush. If you'd like me to light it.
Yes, you totally should light it. Yes. Okay. Very, very cool. So what is in this drink?
So what's in this drink is gin, Saint Germain, Japanese tea, lemon juice, and rose syrup.
Oh my gosh, that is great. Now, I know that the gentleman who created this, tell us a little bit about him.
So Liam is one of our bartenders, and he is running for Canadian's Best Bartender.
Oh.
And he's currently in the top 5, I believe, at the moment, waiting for the last results.
Wow, well, that's fantastic. These are all amazing. You guys are always so creative here.
Thank you.
At Parker Rooftop, honestly, it's way beyond just a champagne bar. You guys do amazing creative cocktails all the time. So we want to thank Kieran for making these great cocktails for us, and now we get to try them behind the scenes. Thanks again.
No worries.
Oh, wait, the suit. I have to say, what a gorgeous suit. Thanks for dressing up for us on Our City Tonight.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching Our City Tonight. We just wanted to remind you to check out our fairly new website at www.ourcitytonighttv.com. You can check out all past episodes and a great gallery of pictures and check out what we're up to. Now back to the show.
Our City Tonight is providing a segment for Healthy New Horizons for seniors that includes information from professionals on health and wellness, free senior services, online safety, financial management, government programs, and stories of inspiration. Yes, another Healthy Horizons segment here at the Parker. Joining us for the first time is Brandy Lockhart. She's Wealth Advisor for CIBC Wood Gundy. First time on the show, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're quite welcome. Continuing this series on seniors, a good base of your clientele are seniors, so we want to kind of give them some financial advice. Let's start with some tips on how one might maximize their retirement income.
Yes, of course. So maximizing retirement income generally involves the use of a few different strategies. Taking advantage of government pensions, private pensions, tax-efficient withdrawals on your personal savings, and then also optimizing those personal savings. When you think about government pensions, CPP and old age security, a lot of individuals don't know that you can delay those pensions to up to age 70.
Right.
When you look at these pensions, you're entitled to to your full amount at age 65, can delay up to age 70, and each month that you delay, you get more. So old age security, for example, you are entitled to 7.2% more per year.
Right.
If you delay all the way to age 70, that's going to give you an extra 36% in income on your old age security. With CPP, that is an additional 8.4% per year. So a little bit more on that one. For a total, if you delay it to age 70, up to 42% in income per year. Looking at more deep into the old age security there is a clawback clause. Okay. So if you make over a certain amount of money, that threshold for 2024 is just under $91,000. Your OAS starts to get clawed back, meaning you start getting less and less.
Right.
Once you reach just around $150,000, that OAS is fully clawed back. This means you don't get any OAS for the following year. So some strategies you can think about would be with your RSPs. RSPs, you have to turn your RSPs into a RIF at age 71, and then you have to start taking your payments at age 72, but you don't have to wait. So you can start taking your RSPs a little bit earlier to prevent yourself from being in a higher tax bracket in the future. This is all going to depend, of course, on your health and individual tax situations. Another thing is maximizing your TFSAs. Okay. So tax-free savings account, anything within a tax-free savings account grows completely tax-free. Any withdrawals from a TFSA is also not added to your taxable income.
Oh, it's not? Oh, I thought you were going a different direction.
No, it's
okay,
not.
right.
So it helps with your taxable income using a TFSA as well.
Okay.
If you've never contributed to a TFSA, it started in 2009, you're actually able to do $95,000 as of 2024. So it's a large amount of tax-free money there. And the last thing I'd say on this would be pension splitting. So you can split certain pensions with your spouse. RIF income, company pensions, private pensions, annuities. So this will actually reduce your taxable income as well.
One of the things I hear more and more people talking about is as we grow older, people are living longer, they're healthier, they're exercising, they're watching what they eat. So then the question comes up, how do I handle things so that I don't outlive my savings?
That's a great question, and it's top of mind for most of my clients. And while there's no guarantee that this is going to happen, some strategies I would say is to make sure you have a financial plan.
Right.
Work with your wealth advisor and have a retirement plan completed. What this will show you is how long your savings are projected to last in retirement. This is based on your lifestyle needs, any pension income that you are going to be getting in retirement. You want to make sure to factor in your healthcare costs, long-term care. Put that all in your retirement plan, along with timing of CPP and old age security, RIF withdrawals, and then reviewing that plan is so important. Even if you're already retired, you should have a retirement plan so that you know where you stand and then review it consistently.
You must run into this often where people are wondering, how can I balance my conservative investments with potential growth in my portfolio? Walk us through that, because I'm sure you get asked that all the time.
Yeah, of course. It's what I talk about every day.
Yeah, right.
There's multiple factors that come into play with that. Your time horizon, your risk tolerance, your income needs, and then of course your nest egg that you've been able to save. So when you look at your time horizon, for example, the longer your time horizon is, the more risk you can take. So the more growthier assets you can have within your portfolio. On the other end of it, if you have a shorter time horizon, you're gonna want to have more safer investments within your portfolio. The next thing you want to think about is your risk tolerance. So you could, even if you have a really, really long time horizon, you could take as much risk as you want. You have to make sure you're comfortable with that, because the more risk you take, the more growth you have, the higher the volatility. So you want to make sure that you're comfortable with that volatility by balancing out the portfolio. Maybe you need to have more conservative investments to make sure you're comfortable.
Let's wrap things up by talking about meeting with clients and potential clients. Walk us through the first couple steps. What can viewers out there saying, I'd like to maybe follow up and learn more?
Yeah, so every family and client that I work with is different. They all have different goals and objectives, and I want to make sure that I get to know these clients and build a relationship with them so that I know the type of wealth strategy to approach them with and the types of tools and resources to use as well. And life happens, so events will happen, planned or not planned. So you want to make sure that you have that ongoing communication and trust with your advisor. That is critical to a successful relationship.
Brandy, thank you.
Thank you.
We've had Brandy Lockhart here on another Healthy Horizons segment. She is the wealth advisor for CIBC Wood Gundy.
Well, we hope you're enjoying the show. We just wanted to take a pause and remind you about our partnership with the Richmond Sentinel.
That's right. You can check out our columns twice a month, print and digital, and you can check them out online at richmondsentinel.ca. There's a couple covers right here. Let's get back to the show.
Here at Botanist Restaurant at the Fairmont Pacific Rim. And I have a very, very special guest that I am going to be interviewing here at the Botanist in their VIP cocktail room. Based on the 1975 novel by James Clavell, some of our viewers would remember Shogun, and that was done as a miniseries back in the 1980s. It was spectacular then, but most recently, in 2024, Shogun was recreated again, and wow, to major, major acclaim. In fact, that TV series in their very first season cleaned up at the Emmys, 18 Emmys if I'm correct. I am so excited to be sitting beside Carol Griffin, who is the costume supervisor for Shogun. And in front of us here is her very well-deserved Emmy for that particular show. Welcome, Carol, to our city tonight.
Thank you, Lita. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, we were so excited when I found out our mutual friend knew you and just casually mentioned that, oh, my good friend Carol won an Emmy. And I'm like, would she want to be on the show? Thank you for being on here. You are a highly skilled costumer. Working here in Vancouver. Shogun was filmed here. The previous show you were also filming in, which was very popular, is The Last of Us. We'll talk about that one as well. But let's just jump right into Shogun. My first question is, how much effort was it to study this period in 1600 Japan?
It was a huge effort. I mean, as you can imagine, 1600 Japan, there's not a lot of photographs kicking around of what people were wearing or what was going on, but we did a lot of work with advisors and historians from Japan. We did, museum visits. We looked at paintings, sculptures, any kind of art-related items that would help us see lines and silhouettes of what people were wearing. In some of the museums, there's still fabrics that exist, so we couldn't actually go and see them ourselves because it was COVID still. So when we were doing our prep for the show, we had to rely on people in Japan to extensively photograph and document information to send to us. So we really had to take a lot of time to really understand what the period looked like and the different, I'd say, hierarchy of what people would wear based on their position in the culture. So.
Wonderful. Well, it definitely, the show was shot with authenticity in mind, from the sets to everything. It's incredible that they were able to find these places here in BC, as well as Vancouver Island, I guess, over there.
Yes.
Now, Carol, let's jump into your particular career. I mean, we could talk forever about Shogun, and congratulations.
Thank you.
What was the most challenging thing? You've been, am I correct, 20 years as a costume designer?
20 some odd. I mostly work as a costume supervisor.
Okay.
So what that is I work hand in hand with the designer. So they come up with the creative vision, and together we work together, and I take that vision and make it a reality. So I am the one who primarily will break down the script to figure out what is involved in what we need for the characters, how many changes, what type of period it is, what it's going to cost, how many people we're going to need to make it all happen. And so I'm sort of that bridge between the designer and the producers, and then I find and build a team. So then from that together, we make it all happen. So it's a huge collaboration with many people involved.
Okay,
For
great.
example, back to Shogun, we had 105 people in the costume department. So
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of people.
that's a lot of people.
So what has been your biggest challenge to date in your career?
Well, I mean, I thought that it was Shogun when I first delved into that. It was learning a whole new culture, learning a whole new language. And that was probably the biggest challenge that I've ever had. It's the biggest crew that I've ever had to run, and just so many cultural things that I had to pay attention to learn. And it was really a giant learning curve. So I thought that was it. And then I went on to The Last of Us, which also was another huge project that I just had no idea. I had really only gone in to help for a few weeks. And then I ended up staying for the run of the show. So I was kind of a little behind when I started. I started on the project a week before they went to camera. So I had a significant learning curve in a matter of a few weeks. So
Wonderful. Well, I'm sure everyone has heard of Last of Us, but you're going from a zombie apocalyptic world into, 1600 Japan. That is quite a shift. So that is challenging in itself, I guess, to get your brain around that. What would you yet like to do in your career? Is there a time period that you would love to be supervisor for?
I have a soft spot for, the historical costume drama. So that, that's kind of on my bucket list. And I also would love to do a film with Wes Anderson. So
Put it out there. That's fantastic.
Then once I've done those two things, then maybe I can think about retiring. But
Oh, cool. I'm going to name drop a little bit. You've worked with people like Matt Damon, Reese Witherspoon, Sigourney Weaver, Jude Law, Idris Elba. The list goes on and on. And wow, I saw that Bill Murray. That must have been a lot of fun. You know, you also teach at the community college as well, and that's incredible. What is left for you? What, I mean, you're doing it all. I know you want to do that kind of period piece, but any other things coming up for Carol?
Well, I mean, there's definitely rumor of Shogun season 2
Yes.
coming up, and that would be a slightly different storyline. So if that all falls into place, I think that would be another wonderful challenge that I would really be ready for. But, you know, other than that, I'm going to just sort of take things as they come, and it's kind of the way I've always played it. I've never really tried to go after anything. I just put it out there, and it just comes, and it just happens.
Well, now with this under your belt, you need to make either a big tiara or a necklace and be able to carry this around for sure. Congratulations again, Carol.
Thank you.
That is huge. Huge in your industry and huge overall as a career. So when you do the next, we're going to have you back on the show, and you're going to share for whatever you go and do.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
We got Carol Griffin, costume supervisor, most recently Emmy award-winning costume supervisor for Shogun.
Closed captioning and other promotional considerations provided by Hamilton High Street Senior Residence, Richmond's newest senior living community.
Well, we're back here at the Parker Rooftop where we began this episode. And Lita, it's time to say goodbye.
It is, but before we go, we just want to remind you that if you're watching at 10:30 a.m. on a Sunday, we also have an airing at midnight. And if you're watching at midnight, good for you. You're a great night owl.
That's right. And we should also let you know, folks, on January 19th, we're airing a rare repeat. We're going to be doing that on the 19th. And then on the 26th, the following Sunday, we're going to be preempted by curling, but we will be back here Sunday, February 2nd with a brand new episode. We hope you join us then. From the Parker Rooftop, I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leith-Benz.
We'll see you on the next edition of Our City Tonight.
You can contact us and watch past episodes at ourcitytonighttv.com. The Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.